Today's one of those days where you wake up like yelling at the computer. I could probably sit down and write 50 papers and I wouldn't even scratch the surface of how fucking wrong everything is right now in the world. You have Israel demolishing Palestine, and it turns out because there's $453 billion worth of oil that they've already stolen from Palestine. I guess they've been stealing it since 2006, and they're not saying it on the news, but that's probably why Hamas was created and came to power. So, because we haven't heard about any of this, that Israel is stealing the natural gas that's underneath the Gaza Strip and is already selling it. So they've already, appropriated it from the Palestinians, but now they need the Palestinians completely removed, I guess, to either access it or to get Hamas out of the loop, because Hamas is probably getting some of it. Because if Hamas wasn't getting it, since they're running it, you would think there would be an outrage from 2007 till now about the fact that Israel has been stealing Palestinians' resources and selling them. In fact, this year I believe they became an exporter of energy. Israel did, off Palestinian energy. Anyway, if Hamas wasn't running Palestine, then we would have been hearing about this in the news, but we haven't. This is just coming to light now. But yet, it's been ongoing since 2007. And I guess the reserves were found in 1998. It just goes to show you, not only is Israel a completely barbaric, shithead bunch of fucking terrorists, but they're also dumb, because out of the 78% of Palestine's land that they originally got and stole, they didn't have the foresight to steal the stuff that was worth any money. In fact, they gave the Palestinians what they considered to be the absolute asshole of the animal. And that absolute asshole is the only thing in that entire region worth anything. And that's why the Palestinians have to die right now. That's number one. Number two, the war in Ukraine. Completely now unwinnable. Go fucking figure. Number one, it was never a war. Number two, it was never winnable. And it cost us billions, hundreds of billions of dollars to fund Zelensky so that we could do whatever, I don't know, build fucking chemical weapons factories in Ukraine or do whatever the hell we were doing. Anyway, we all knew it was a scam from the beginning, and now look, hundreds of billions of dollars wasted, and now we're going to abandon Zelensky and tell him to go to the fucking negotiating table with Putin. And Putin, in the beginning, didn't want any part of Ukraine. He didn't want the Donbass. He didn't want anything. He wanted Ukraine to state what they had already stated, signed a treaty to, which was that they would not join the United Nations. Now, that will be off the table this time, because why? Because the United Nations won't fucking let them join. Right? So what was Putin so scared of them joining the United Nations when the United Nations won't even let him in? In other words, people, a fucking total scam. No fucking war, no bullshit. The Donbass was never an area that Ukraine wanted. They were bombing it since 2014. And it wasn't an area that fucking Putin wanted, because he didn't want a bunch of fucking bombed out territory with a bunch of people he's got to fucking help. Of course, it's a financial drain on him and his country. So nobody wants that asshole country of Donbass, that region of that country, that has cost us hundreds of billions of dollars and propped up an actor, a TV comedy actor that played a president to be a president, and, send his wife to Paris for a $250,000 shopping spree on us, the taxpayer. Anyway, that's number two. Number three, might even be the one that pisses me off more. Because the amount of scientific studies, supposed research around cancer, all these years. Now that I'm reading about it, I thought this was a very recent discovery, but no, this is ongoing since 2006. Bioelectric fields in cancer. It literally makes chemotherapy, number one, completely 100% useless, which it's always been. You don't kill cancer by poisoning somebody. That's such a fucking stupid idea anyway, but because the doctors that prescribe chemotherapy to their cancer patients get a 50% bump back of the actual chemo products they sell, that's why it's been ongoing. It's always about money. And these scumbag doctors, like the ones that are injecting your children with this fucking noxious thing they call a vaccine anymore, these guys get like $14 a pop to possibly ruin a child. Anyway, it's just fucking a tangent, but you know what I mean. These people are fucking sick. But all this research in this cancer stuff. Now, I lost faith in science back in 1980 when this whole secondhand smoke thing came out. And I've been railing against it. If you've ever saw my writing on Facebook previously or heard my rants, you know how much I have railed against this secondhand smoke theory. The idea that some scientist did a study that found if I take a cigarette, light it on fire, and stick it in my mouth, it's somehow worse for you passing by me. That concept, even when I was a child, made me go, okay, wait a minute. They're calling this science. That's not science. That is complete and utter bullshit. The only people that believe it are people that want to believe it. People that don't like cigarette smoke. People that don't like the smell. And hey, I can't blame you. I quit for 2 days one time. And even in that 2 days, I could smell how fucking horrible it was on my clothes. I admit it. It's a fucking horrible, nasty habit. That said, what I'm doing right now, in no fucking way, shape, or form, hurts you at all. Because this, it turns out, doesn't cause cancer. And it never has. What causes cancer? Because we're made up of a bunch of cells. And some cells go build livers. And some cells build arms. And some cells do other things. Well, it turns out that each individual cell, though, sometimes goes through what they call dysregulation. It gets somehow a wrong signal from our bioelectric field, and it goes out, but it doesn't know what to do. It has to do something because it's a cell. And until it kills itself, it's got to do something. That's what cells do. But being that it's out of its normal electrical realm, it turns out what it does is what we call cancer. It grows cancer because it's trying to do something, but it's dysregulated and it doesn't know what to do. So you can smoke all of these fucking cigarettes. You could be in the car with me with the windows up while I'm smoking all these cigarettes, and you're not getting cancer. So, since this study has been out apparently since 2006, and they've been doing all kinds of new research with it, number one, why haven't we heard about it? Number two, why are they still prescribing chemotherapy, which is poison, to people dying of cancer? Number three, why are people dying of cancer when we now know that they can fucking reverse it with electrical alternating current stimulation at low frequencies? Number four, why don't they retract this second-hand smoke study? Why do we have to be subjected to this bullshit when they know it's not true? Allowing people to fucking ostracize smokers. I'm paying $12 a pack now, and $4 of that is tax. People bitching about the price of gas. At least that affects everybody evenly. The amount of tax on liquor and cigarettes, because they're supposedly a fucking drain on the system, The amount of tax on that is outrageous. And it's all based on fucking junk science. Junk science that I've been calling out since I was a fucking child. There was junk science. And now it's all been proven to be junk science. And I know I'm not going to get a big pat on the back or a attaboy or a, hey Mike, you were right kind of thing. I don't give a shit about that. What I do give a shit about, though, is all the people who are going to cling on to this old scientific information that says this is somehow bad for their health. It's not. It never has been. There's 1 billion people in China that can tell you it's not bad for your health just by looking at them. They live longer and healthier than we do, and every fucking one of them from the age of 6 smokes cigarettes. That's all they do. They smoke cigarettes, go to work, and eat fish. People have always said, oh, it's their diet that gets them to not have cancer. It's not their fucking diet. These people live in a world largely free of fucking, in the old days, largely free of fucking electrical fields. Again, like 5G. There's some good electrical fields, bioelectric fields that have some net health effects. But along with anything, in moderation is good. And if you do too much, guess what? It's bad. So you get too much of this electrical fucking magnetic frequency and shit, it's bad. You get the proper amount, it's good. Turns out your grandma was right, you know. Everything in moderation. Anyhow, those are just some of the things bugging me. But this fucking thing about cancer and bioelectric fields and the electrical dysregulation, that's the thing that really, I gotta say, when I woke up today, really pisses me off. Because everybody in the world that still hates cigarettes for absolutely, it's like hating fucking feathers. Like, yeah, feathers have that little fucking sharp thing on the end, and if they get stuck out of your down pillow and they get in your shirt, fucking pokes you, and it's fucking annoying. But actually imposing your will on other people to get them to stop doing something they want to do so that you don't get that occasional annoying fucking feather thing poking in your arm is the most fucking selfish, self-centered, narcissistic piece of shit mentality. And it's the same mentality that's allowed this world to go to shit, basically. But people are going to hold on to these old thoughts and this old narrative that smoking causes cancer. And they will hold on to this so dearly, they will cling to it to the point where they would let probably their own children or their own parents die from chemotherapy, radiation poisoning before they would admit or seek out new treatments that don't involve chemotherapy and killing yourself voluntarily by taking a poison, but involve simply going in and having somebody figure out where the cancer is, hook up some kind of electrical frequency generator, and get your cells to kill themselves, the cancerous cells, because that's what cells do. When cells find out that they are dysregulated, they go through apoptosis, and they kill themselves. It's too bad people won't do that when they find out they're fucking dysregulated. It would be nice if there was some kind of self-destruct button on people, but there's not. But there is on cells, and we now know actually how to trigger that cell death through apoptosis, meaning we can kill cancer cells without killing the person. And if you don't take away anything else from this, at least take away that. At least take away since 2006. They have known that 100%. No questions asked. Just like the Royal Rife machine back in the fucking 20s or whatever, when he cured cancer, and he did it through sound, but sound generates somewhat the same signals as any other energy or electrical field. Anything that's a wave is generating a frequency. And so Royal Rife's machine was a frequency generator. You could also call that an AC generator. And he was curing cancer. Dr. Sebi the guy they killed because he cured cancer and sickle cell and AIDS and everything else, he did it through diet. But that diet specifically involved not eating food. It was a fasting diet, sometimes up to 30 days. Well, it turns out when you fast, you're creating a different electrical input in your body. That's why you can burn fat. That's why your mind becomes clear. That's why a lot of things happen when you fast. And people around the world are largely becoming aware and even fasting for a day or two a week because of these health benefits of fasting. We have been robbed of our good health by these people that call themselves doctors and these people that call themselves pharmacists. And it's time we all put a stop to it, because these people are killing us, and they know they're killing us, and they're killing us with their poisons because we're allowing it. If the sheep in the field could somehow tell you not to shear them, I'm sure they would, but they can't. So they just sit there and wait to be sheared. That's us. We are sitting here as a people with brains, with all these studies out there, with an internet where we can look them all up, vastly allowing these people to take away that internet, take our rights away to look them up, take our ability. The only one that's going to save us is us. Nobody's jumping in here. No God's coming down on thank fucking Jesus for a good day. Jesus gives a fuck if you have a good day. Anything you should get from Jesus should be, you are the master of your own destiny. And if you choose not to master that destiny, guess what? Destiny is just going to wait there until you either choose it or someone chooses it for you. And right now, people are choosing it for us. So why don't we start choosing our destiny for us? Get rid of all these fucking doctors and pharmacists and bankers and fucking people that kill and steal and rob, that wear suits instead of kill and steal and rob from a ghetto. Because the people from the ghetto, they're not affecting you, yet they're all sitting in prison. And the people that fucking take 260 million homes in 2008, guess what? Not one of them goes to prison. The people, the elites at the top, don't give a shit about us because there's no penalties for them. We don't demand accountability. Go off on one more tangent. This is going to be a long video, but if anybody saw Marsha Blackburn, senator, at the last something committee on how the weaponization of the government, and this Jim Jordan prick that's been doing all this stuff, she comes into this committee where they're going to subpoena the two Republican donators of the Republican Party, two big funders, who have been paying for Clarence Thomas and one other justice basically for years. I mean, they bought Clarence Thomas's mom's house and then gave it back to him so his mom didn't have to pay rent. They take him for big trips and junkets and hunting trips and stuff all year long, and they pay for everything. And these people have issues being decided in front of the Supreme Court. So it seems worthwhile that we would subpoena them and get their take on what their money's buying. Granted, that's fine with me. Okay, do it. Like we don't know that corruption is rampant in our government anyway. But to derail that from happening, Marsha Blackburn gets up there and says, if they subpoena those two Republican donors, she's going to subpoena the unredacted Jeffrey Epstein flight logs. And that puts an end to that whole session. As if Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs only contain Democrats. That's why the Democrats ended that session. They were so scared that they were going to be outed on those flight logs. Do you think Marsha Blackburn believes that? Do you think those flight logs are simply Democratic people? People in the Democratic side? Or do you think it's probably pretty evenly mixed of fucking pedophiles both Democrat and Republican, who went over to Jeffrey Epstein's sex island on his little Lolita Express and then were blackmailed for years later, for having sex with 12-year-olds and 10-year-olds and whatever fucking else these demented, perverted assholes we call elites do. But anyway, that's what she threatened them with. They gavelled that meeting down. Now we're going to have to look for another way to go after these damn Republican donors who have bought the Supreme Court. Oh, we almost got them. We almost got them. Meanwhile, while they're doing that, they're voting to put an interlock device in every car by 2026. That means if you're driving down the road and your car that's now looking at you through your gauges, your rearview mirror, if it detects your pupils are darting or your eyes are dilated, maybe thinks you're drunk, it will turn your fucking car off. Say you're in the middle of a snowstorm and it turns your car off. What are you going to do? I guess when it turns your car off, maybe it sends the police to your location. Hopefully they don't have too many locations or too many people whose eyes were darting around and shut all their cars off, so maybe some get saved and you don't, because your car has turned off because the government believes it's their right to spy on you through your gauges, and by 2026 they're going to install this on every fucking car that comes out. This is what's happening in your government. On one hand, you've got some kind of theater with Marsha Blackburn and Jim Jordan and Dick Durbin and all these people. And on the other side, they're silently passing this legislation that's going to turn your fucking car off in the middle of nowhere for any reason that AI decides to turn your fucking car off in the middle of nowhere, and you can do fuck all about it. That's your government protecting you. Ever since the government's been protecting us, folks, I feel a lot less safe. I wish they'd quit protecting me, because everything they're doing seems like it's more geared towards killing me. And don't get me even started on Elon Musk's thing. I'd have to go for another fucking 20 minutes.